We'll take any questions you have in the room for these two.
Aaliyah, this is a season high for you. Just talk about kind of the offensive rhythm you got in, just how you were able to fit into what the team was doing tonight.
Yeah, so we just trust each other, I feel like, and me just having the confidence from within, that really helps a lot with not thinking so much of what I need to do. And we have great teammates who are unselfish. It is very easy to score, especially when they're having an off night. So it's your turn to step up, and whenever it's my turn, I like to deliver.
Well, and it's a little bit different role for you because last year you were playing so much with all the injuries. Just kind of talk about for you that the adjustment to just a little bit different role this year.
Yeah, I think that obviously last year was a little bit different scenario, and like all the injuries and with everything, like I said, you have to step up to the plate and you deliver. This year it's more of like everybody eats, not just focus on one player. And I think that the shift is really easy for me just because I'm not too worried about myself. I'm more worried about the team's success. Not very selfish and worried about me.
The defensive effort was good all night, but you held Tech to 16 points there in the second half. What changed and what allowed you guys to kind of ramp it up after halftime?
Yeah, I think throughout the season we've had games where we've came out in the second half and we weren't necessarily locked in or disciplined on defense, and that's been a huge focus for us to make sure that, especially as we're getting to the last stretch of season, that we're actually, fixing those things, because whether it's a big game or quote unquote just a regular game, we want to make sure that we're treating it the same. So I think this game was just a good testament to like our team and really listening to the coaches and focusing on being defensively disciplined.
How did you guys feel about your offensive execution in the first half versus the second half? In the first half, you had some more missed shots. In the second half, some of those three started to fall. Was it just a matter of the shots falling, or did you feel like you had a better process?
Yeah, I mean, our offense was still flowing. We were getting good shots. I don't know the exact stat, but I think we had like 14 threes in general in the first half. They just weren't falling. But the great thing about our team, we get up so many shots that we knew, the speech was just like, they'll fall. We're getting wide open shots. We're not like forcing anything, so just keep shooting. So fortunately, they were actually falling towards the end.
You guys are in the home stretch. Everybody's hurt, everybody's banged up at this time of year. How do you stay kind of mentally locked in and physically locked in at this point?
I think we just take it one game at a time, not get too ahead of ourselves, and just focus on that game, that scout, and what we need to do to win for that game.
The last couple of games, you've seen defenses kind of blitz your ball handlers a little bit more. How do you adjust to that and make sure that that's not throwing up the top of the offense?
I think the last game showed us a lot on like what we wanted to work on and implement and add into our offense, so that way there's not as much pressure on those that are getting blitzed and trapped and all that fun stuff. So we've really focused in on it yesterday during practice, and we'll continue to throughout, but realizing that everyone can handle the ball, so all of us being available to those that are getting trapped, I think that helps a lot.
Donovyn, you had 7 assists tonight, and then when you were at Oregon State, that was one of your big things, was dishing out the ball. And so just talk about what you were seeing out there tonight and just kind of how you feel like you've grown over the course of this season.
Yeah, I would say throughout this whole season I've lacked getting to the paint, whether that's just doing a layup or trying to get my feet in the paint to see out, and that was just a huge emphasis that I was focusing on this game, making sure that I'm getting paint touches for my team, especially at my position, not being a windshield wiper and staying out on the perimeter. So naturally that helps. This game, it showed just me getting paint touches. It helped get everybody else open. Kudos to my team for making the shots, otherwise I wouldn't have 7 assists I think I had. But yeah, I would just say that I'm just really focusing in on getting paint touches.
You talked about, staying up for each individual game. You guys obviously had a tough one in Manhattan a couple of days ago, and then they go and get beat in Stillwater, and all of a sudden you're right back in that first place spot. How do you just keep kind of looking towards that goal without looking ahead?
I think same thing, like just taking it one day at a time, knowing that, like I said, our losses are lessons, so we take every loss and learn from it, and whenever you're focused about whatever other people are doing, you get lost, and I think that we try to hone in on what we're doing and what our deal is, just taking it one game.
Anything else for these two? All right, thanks, guys. Well, Krista.
Coach, you faced TCU twice now. What's your impression of the ball club and just what makes them such a tough task?
To me, they have 3 pros on their team, right? Sedona's a pro. Haley's a pro, and I think Connor can be a pro. You know, I mean, so obviously they really highly skilled, and they've got the big three. I mean, they got a shooter, they got a point guard, and they've got a post player. So it's pretty obvious that they're really talented.
In the first half, you all kept closer down one at halftime. You knew those shots were going to start falling in the second half. What's kind of message to your team there at halftime, knowing kind of that situation is?
Well, I mean, you just got to keep battling, right? I mean, we had to keep doing what we were doing and trying to take away their biggest threats, in our opinion, and trying to make the others prove it. I thought that we had some defensive lapses, clearly, a lot of them. That we were still getting the right people to shoot the basketball, but now they started driving it at us, and we started running at them for some reason instead of just closing them out and guarding them. But you just got to keep fighting. You got to keep doing what you're doing and attacking the basket. I didn't think our shot selection was good to start the third quarter. That gave them a little breathing room.
TCU's rim defense was particularly strong. What did you see with you guys going layups and drives at the rim that they were able to be so effective?
Yeah, well, we were trying to remove Sedona from the rim, right? And I felt like we did that. Sedona didn't necessarily hit us at the rim when we were driving it. But we just weren't very tough in finishing because we got the layups that we wanted. And they're going to be contested at this level, and especially against really good basketball teams. And we just need to finish them better.
Anything else? Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
And last but not least, we have Coach Campbell following today's win over Texas Tech. We'll let Coach share his opening thoughts and then open the room for questions.
Well, this was just a great bounce-back game after the Kansas State game, and we've been grinding 3 of the last 5. We're on the road, and to get back to the Schollmeyer, this crowd, and to be on our home court. Wish we would have shot it better, but if you told me Haley would have 6 points, 1 assist, that Big B, Agnes, who was the other one? Donna would go 2 for 23 from 3 and you'd win by 21. I wouldn't have guessed it. And so it's just neat that this team can win so many ways. I loved how we shared the ball tonight. They were daring us. They were trying to double Sedona, and Sedona was just making great reads out of the double team. Obviously, they tried to trap Haley in this game, which is what Kansas State did. Haley made great reads, and so we were getting wide open looks all night, so proud of them. But we didn't shoot great. I would take all those shots again. I want Agnes to take those same 10 threes again. But it was defense tonight. And it's both times we played these guys. We have been locked in defensively. To hold the team to 42 points this time of the year is hard to do.
Just 16 points there after halftime.
Yeah.
You guys have had some challenges in the second half of games this year. How good was it to see them come out and lock in the second half tonight? Yeah,
it's the time of the year right now where you're putting kind of all those experiences over the course of the season, and you hope you learn from them. And so the growth that this team has had, we've had 3 hiccups, and I wouldn't even call them hiccups. I mean, South Carolina is not a hiccup. Playing Kansas State in Manhattan in front of 10,000 is not a hiccup. Oklahoma State's legit and really good. And so you've had 3 tough tests. And I think each one of those we've learned something new. We've been challenged, and this group's responded every time. And so for us to hold the team in the 6-16 for the whole second half, proud. We're maturing since the Oklahoma State game. We're so much more intentional in the second half on both sides of the ball. And it doesn't mean you're going to be perfect, but the group, the unit is what I call them, whatever 5's on there, of making sure in the second half, because there's going to be a lot of these games that come down to the wire over this month. And so we got to be tough as nails, we got to defend, and we got to take good shots, and tonight we did that.
Aaliyah Roberson had her season high tonight. What did you see out of her?
She was awesome. I mean, we couldn't buy a bucket. These kids were getting wide open shots. One of those nights, I mean, all these kids have the green light. That's all we do. We shoot and practice. And so Aaliyah stepped up, and we needed her. She went 4 for 4 from 3. But Aaliyah impacts the game defensively on the glass. And when she shoots it like that, I mean, she's a huge contributor. But I love Aaliyah. She you don't have to run any actions for her. She just makes the right play. Her IQ is elite. And if you know her family, and this kid's growing up around the game at the highest level. And so she just makes winning plays.
You talked about Donovyn Hunter. She had 7 assists tonight. When I asked her about that, she said she was really intentional about getting into the paint. Just talk about what you saw from her tonight, kind of the way she attacked things.
Donovan was awesome. She didn't shoot the ball well. That's okay. She was one of those kids, just shots weren't falling, but she took great shots. But the way she attacked, she got to the rim. She was getting in the paint, driving and kicking. That Donovyn Hunter we need. We need that Donovyn Hunter the rest of the season. And she was physical. I just loved her demeanor tonight, how hard she played and competed. And you guys, so we're calling it the sprint, the last 6 games of the season, and everybody has to be locked in. And it takes your whole team to win in February. You're going to need different people to step up.
And you mentioned this earlier, you just came off a tough road trip and kind of that meat of your schedule.
Yeah.
About being back here and be able just to relax a little bit, yeah.
Oh, you guys, Shomar, I think we're 16-0. Is that right? Which is a program record at home. Nobody's been able to get us here. And it's a testament to this crowd, the environment. And we need the crowd to come out. We got 3 more games with this group, and hopefully we can run the table and go 19-0. But we got 3 more tough ones at home. Gosh dang, I'd love to find a way to get a sellout for this team, and they deserve it. And so let's keep beating the drums. We need everybody to bring a friend. I know Fort Worth can do it. We're getting close. The crowd just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And so Tuesday night, obviously, we got a big one against BYU, and I know our team will be tuned in. I think tonight they play Baylor.
You kind of alluded to it earlier, but Kansas State blitzed really hard off ball screens, and Tech tried to emulate that a little bit tonight. What's the counterpunch to that to make sure that Haley's still getting her looks and still getting involved in the offense? Yeah,
so the last 2 days, that's all we worked on. And I'm taking the Kansas State. That's on me. You guys, you can only hold your students accountable if they didn't do, what they were supposed to do, and they weren't equipped to handle the double team on that stage in that pressure against a really good team, which means we hadn't repped it enough. They weren't able to do it naturally. And so last 2 days, obviously, we've worked on post-to-post double, and we worked on pick and roll. Whether or not Tech did it or not, someone's going to do it eventually, and Tech ended up doing it tonight. And so the deal with that is that you're playing a 4-on-3 on the backside or a 3-on-2 on the backside. You just got to get the ball out of the trap, and then you attack and play out of it. And so we shot wide open threes all night. And I'll play that game against anybody with our roster. Our roster is assembled to be an elite level 3-point shooting team. And so maybe you get the ball out of Haley's hands, but you're giving us wide open catch and shoot threes. Again, I would take those 32 threes that we took tonight. I'd run it back. And so that's the growth. This team is so smart. Haley's such a willing playmaker for us. And so all of those pieces, it's kind of pick your poison. I mean, if we shoot the ball well tonight, this game gets out of hand.
Well, and Taylor Bickney there in the first half really kind of got you guys going off. And just talk a little about what she was doing, even though she went 0 for 6 from 3, kind of your point, just sometimes they just don't fall.
Yeah, but Bigby did a great job attacking the rim tonight. Attacking closeouts, and so if teams are going to trap or double on the backside of it, you get to attack closeouts and make plays. And Bigby did a great job driving and kicking, getting to the rim. She also took wide open shots. So, you guys, we this could have been a night you hung 90 if you shot the ball well. And so I'm not worried about makes and misses. As a coach, you're just worried about the reads that these kids are making, and are they good shots? And we took great shots all night, and the kids made the right reads. Sometimes shots don't fall, which is why you got to hang your hat on the defensive end in February.
Talked about all the chaos in this conference. Kansas State beats you guys and then goes to Stillwater and it gets it handed to them pretty good. And all of a sudden you're right back in the thick. How do you stay focused on what's next while also keeping that big picture in mind?
Yeah, this is February. I mean, you guys, it's every game's a battle. You better take care of home court. First of all, Oklahoma State's really stinking good. I mean, they've proven that over this season. They have a heck of a team there. And so I haven't seen the film. I didn't go watch the game. But I know winning in Stillwater is really hard to do. And so you got to stay focused on the task at hand. And so far, this team hasn't stubbed our toe. We had an opportunity to win in Manhattan. We had an opportunity to win in Stillwater, those places are hard to win at. And so, but we haven't messed up. You know, we haven't dropped a game you're not supposed to. And so we got a big game, you know, on Tuesday night. It's our Super Bowl, biggest game in program history. And so you got to lock in and you got a 40-minute fight and take care of that game. Tomorrow we'll hit practice and the scout and do it Monday and then get ready. And so that's all you can control. And with young people, it's easy to look ahead. And you just got to keep taking it one at a time. But so far, I mean, we're 22-3. You guys, this group is what they're doing is magical. It's special. A group that really, you know, started playing together in June. Half the team's brand new, and we're grinding through February, and they're 22-3 and tied for first place in the Big 12.
Well, and when you bring in these transfers and the team that you have, you expect success, but could you have imagined this kind of success with this?
No, it's so hard to do. You guys, to get a collection of kids in the portal era, everybody's trying to do it, and get them to play good basketball and get them to become a family and have a tight locker room and to enjoy the journey together. It's really hard to do, and it's a combination of our staff identifying the right young women, and then these kids, man, they deserve all the credit. You got to set aside your ego. You got to be willing to jump in with 2 feet and play team basketball, and we had a lot of really talented kids that came here, and all of them are playing the game right. So I'm so proud of this group. And you're missing a kid like, I mean, Maddie Shear was one of the best guards in college basketball. That hasn't played a minute for us this year. And so, yeah, I'm having a blast, you guys, coaching this group. I don't want this journey to end, and I hope we get a long run together in March.
So I just scout.
Oh, Nolan. Gosh, Nolan has been sick, and our team kind of had the bug go through us. Nolan got rocked, so he's working on film and scout, wearing a mask. He's sweating, but he's been locked in on these guys. I mean, 2 of our best defensive performances this year have come against Tech, and so he's got these guys nailed, and so really proud of them. And now Coach Moore's on the clock for BYU.
A little bit off topic here, but earlier this week, Jamie Dixon got win number 500 for his career. He's a guy you've known for a really long time. Now you get to coach across from him here at TCU. Just talk about his impact on you and his impact on TCU and what that means.
Coach Dixon is one of the best coaches in the country on the men's side. To do what he's done at Pitt and TCU is incredible. And to have the success for that many years at this elite level is hard to do. 500 wins, you guys, ridiculous. One, it means you've been coaching. He must have been a head coach at a young age. But he's been doing this a really long time. And ultimately, to have 500 wins, it means you've recruited at a high level. And you've had some studs that have been a part of your program. And you have to have a great staff. There's just so many moving. 500 wins is impressive, you guys. And so I've known him a long time, but him and his staff have been amazing to us in our time here. They have literally done anything we've needed to try to just figure out how to build a program and get it up and running in the ins and outs of TCU and Fort Worth. And Coach Dixon we've had all sorts of basketball talks, and so I'm personally very thankful and for him and happy for him. But thanks for asking that. That's a big time milestone in the coaching industry.
Anything else for Coach tonight? All right, Tuesday.
See you guys Tuesday night. Go Frogs.